Calling from a 616 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? This is the final call of the day.
Hi, this is Ryan from West Michigan.
Ryan from West Michigan. What's on your mind, Ryan?
Well, we have, I'm in the district where Hillary Skolton beat John Gibbs, and our Ottawa County Board of Commissioners hired a whole bunch of MAGA people. And they just last night fired the county commissioner and hired John Gibbs.
Oh,
who
jeez.
doesn't even live in the district, or doesn't live in the county. He's from Kent County, where Grand Rapids is located. And they hired him to be our county commissioner.
And how are people reacting to that?
Well, a lot of people around here are super happy about it, obviously. But they also hired our health, Department of Health lead and hired a new guy on the spot. They changed the county motto from where everyone belongs to where freedom rings.
Oh, Jesus.
And they completely eliminated the diversity and inclusion group, or the board, which was entirely funded by private money. And they also voted to not give that money back to those private donors.
Jesus.
It's kind of insane over here.
Is anybody reporting on this?
Wood TV8 in Grand Rapids did. I could email you the
do.
The link.
Send us the link.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a teacher over here, and it's just the groups that have tons of funding over here to basically harass teachers and health officials and everything else is getting pretty crazy.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's like that librarian that we played, and it's so infuriating that all this stuff...
She's literally 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah, all this stuff,
they're closing her library, by the way.
Yeah, they defunded it. Happened in Huntsville, Texas, too. They decided to, after LGBT sort of display, they privatized it, gave it to a sort of private library company that is going to have, no obligation to...
A lot of times that's the actual agenda. Final analysis.
That's what we talked about with my buddy Chris in Texas, is Texas and public schools in rural area are really, really popular with people. And this sort of, and the Texas Republicans have been trying to privatize and charter school them for decades now. And that's they're using it to attack it with CRT and the grooming stuff.
With that particular library, apparently there was I don't know if it was GoFundMe or something like that. They raised $260,000 to try and keep it open after it was defunded, and they still have to shut it down. It's not going to last long enough to keep it running.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is you hear all these librarians, and even the one in Michigan said, I'm working 6 days a week. The cultural and sort of harassment of these people is one big problem, but the bigger problem is they're underfunded. If we had these institutions funded the way they should be, I think they'd have security and stuff to deal with this sort of flare up of sort of fascism and reaction.
And this might be just unique to my area, but I found that a lot of the people that are running these groups that are doing the harassment do not seem to be true believers in what they're saying. They run groups, whether it's Facebook groups or political groups or whatever, and then when they actually get pushback from people pointing out how crazy the stuff is from their groups, they back off, because what they ultimately want to do is to get into a position of political power, whether just even at the local level. And when they realize that there's going to be blowback, they step back.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But when you're in an area that's this conservative, nobody wants to push back because everybody's worried that they're going to be harassed and, have signs stolen out of the yard and, all sorts of craziness.
Well,
you can tell how insincere it was. To go back to that Michigan librarian, she's like, "You called me a pedophile. How dare you?" And a guy laughed. And if you sincerely thought she was grooming kids, you would not laugh at that.
Right. They just enjoyed it. Appreciate the call.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks. That ends the call-in portion of our program today. Aggressive progressive. I'm no fan of Liz Cheney, but do you think the Democrats can get 5 Republicans? No. I wouldn't want that. That would be the worst case scenario, in my opinion. You don't want that. No. Worst case scenario. Why? What's good about Liz Cheney? What's good about Liz Cheney? Nothing. She served her value which was limited in and of itself,
So
and that's it.
Yeah, like as a finger puppet, basically.
Constant state of Missouri. I feel like my whole life the GOP has been in very solid lockstep. Is it just I'm paying closer attention now? Or is this coalition falling apart? Oh, the coalition's not falling apart. It's just they're just getting more emboldened. That's all. It's nihilism. And at the end of the day, it's like, look, the coalition makes it seem like there's like an ideological fusion between two different, and really what we're looking at, and I've said this before, you're really looking at two brands in the same industry. And I would say this too, that like, it's not even two brands. Because of the nature of gerrymandering and polarization in this country, these Congress people know they don't need the party apparatus anymore. That their fortune is tied into only their lunatic base. And that's it. And they can all freelance in this way. Demi, quick question on self-driving cars. Why? Like, seriously, why? I just don't even see the point or the need that's being filled. It's like a self-petting dog.
Oh, well, to the rich person, they understand the need. Like the truckers and stuff, you don't need to pay them. And your cab drivers, you can just get in a cab and don't have to tip a taxi driver.
It is to save money on human workers. For like the individual consumer, I guess it's like just so that maybe it would increase your productivity.
I mean, it'd be nice to be able to get into a box and say, take me to Philadelphia and be able to like read and stuff. But I don't think we're anywhere near that future.
Well, we are, though. It's called the train.
Right. There you go. Which we are under-investing in.
Without a doubt. Here in North Carolina, there are really two large EV car or battery plants being built, VinFast and Toyota. There are two, really.
One thing to watch on that is, like I said to the previous caller, like those legacy automakers, for all their sins historically, and there's plenty, they do have union labor, but there's a problem with these EV factories is they're often in places that aren't unionized, and there's being a sort of pivot or shift around labor there.
Right. Train Boy just even jumped in. Said driverless cars already exist. They're called trains, and they're amazing. I agree.